Our new business tonight, which we're always excited to hear about, are the school improvement plans. They will be presented from the following schools. And I guess if we're going in order, Truman Elementary will begin tonight. So, yes.
Just before Mrs. Harris makes her way down, for everyone that might be watching and for those that are new to the board or just for everybody in general, why we do the school improvement plans for each individual building are directly related to the comprehensive school improvement plan for the school district. Each fall, the relationship to what we call the CSIP is celebrated by each of the building principals and their leadership teams. Kind of a decentralized process, developing goals that align to the data and the performance of the school. So what we'll be missing this year, as you've heard Mr. Hounsome say, is the state assessment data, because we're delayed in receiving that. But as you've heard me say and others have said on this board, our school district is much more than just the data on the standardized tests that occur, even though that's an important piece. There's many other things that go on in the school district related to school improvement. So with that, each building principal then will talk about parent data and data that they have received from their own individual leadership surveys. So you're hearing a kind of a snapshot of that. So it's part of a real big picture of what goes on in each building. So welcome, Mrs. Harris.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, so that was pretty quick. I am Mrs. Harris, and I will be presenting the 2018-2019 School Improvement Plan for Truman Elementary. Our mission is to promote achievement with students, and this year we wanted to revise revamp our plan to add more measurable goals. Okay? Oh, I almost waited for someone to click for me. Oops. Okay, so before I begin the plan, I wanted to talk a little bit about our demographics. Our student enrollment is 431 this school year. We have 36 certified personnel, 18 support staff. And as you know, I hear it all the time where everyone says, Truman has the most diverse population in Rolla Public Schools. So I wanted to show the numbers so that you can see we do have 95 students that are part of a different race other than white. That makes 22% of our student population. 62% of them receive free or reduced lunch. Oops. This is a school placemat, and I will be talking about all of these goals and strategies throughout my presentation. I just wanted to give you a summary, and you do have a copy of this. The black bullets are bullets that we've met, or goals and strategies that we've met. The blue ones are ongoing. The green are new to the school improvement plan, and the red we did not meet. And like I said, I will talk a little bit about those in more detail. Okay, so our first goal is to increase and improve parent involvement and communication between school and home. Strategy 1 we did meet, which is we want to have 2 parent surveys per year. One of those surveys is given in the fall and the other one in the spring. The one in the fall is more an open-ended kind of questionnaire where the parents can talk about whatever concerns they have or give us any positive feedback. And the second one in the spring is more focused on some information that we want to receive. So it's more like a true or false or multiple choice kind of questions. With their surveys, last year we received several parents gave us advice to continue to use Class Dojo, because last year we used Class Dojo just as a pilot for our school. We were piloting the program, so not every teacher used Class Dojo to communicate with parents. So they said that those who did have Class Dojo interactions with the teachers said that they loved it, and they loved that they can get on-the-spot feedback from their students, how they're doing in the class. And they also get to know what's going on in the school, kind of like a social media thing, but just for school events. Just rapidly they get that. They don't have to wait for the students to bring home newsletters and things like that, because the parents get that in Class Dojo. So we listened to the parents and we implemented that school-wide, and I've already had several positive comments from parents that they just absolutely love it. I do too, honestly. I think if I have a student in my office, I can quickly message the parent and they get them class message or like a text message on their phone, so we can communicate instantly. And some of them, of course, work, and so it's difficult for them to answer the phone, so it's easy for them to text us back. Strategy 3 is one after-school event per month, and we did meet this. So we try to have one event every month that is free to all students and parents to attend. We want the majority of our parents to attend, obviously. The last one we had was the father-daughter dance, and we had over 100 people attend that event. So it was very successful, and we have fine arts event coming up and literacy night as well. So they're educational events. They're not just always for fun, although we do have some. Strategy 4 is our social engagement committee. This committee is responsible for all of the events as well as funding the events. There is a representative from each grade level, and we meet at least once a month, and we do collaborate with PTO on other events that are not Truman events, but PTO events. So we collaborate together, and we make sure that we volunteer in those events as well, kind of like the carnival that they have. That is a PTO event, but we do help school-wide. Strategy 5 and 6 are new this school year. So one of the things that the PLC team we discussed was, although you can look and see how many people attend our events, we don't have a specific number. So we want to start a sign-in roster, but we want to make it easy where they can just probably click on an iPad instead of having to sign in. That way we can get how many people participating in the events. And we get to analyze the data and determine which events are most attended and which we probably will need to revise and make changes for next school year. Strategy number 6 is a positive referral. We've never done this one before, so we're very excited, and we already received several comments from parents as well that have received a positive referral. So if a student is being caught doing something great in the school, the teacher or staff member, it doesn't necessarily have to be that student's teacher, write a positive referral, put it in my box. I mail it to the parent, so it's completely by surprise when they receive it. And then I go into the classroom and make a big deal about it in front of that student's peers and teacher. And so they really like that. They get that positive referral. So when they see me, it's not always negative for them. Okay, I think I skipped one here. Okay, goal number 2 is to develop the skills of teachers and staff and promote positive culture. This is a very important goal for us because we do have 14 new staff members in our building this school year. So we wanted to make sure that all of the staff members are aware that they are part of the team. They should feel comfortable asking questions. We don't expect for them to know it all. You can have veteran teachers, but they are new to the school, so there are a lot of things that they still need to be shown or taught. So one of the things that we do, strategy 1, is provide professional development opportunities. This, of course, is met, but it's still ongoing. The professional development opportunities can be in the building, so they don't necessarily have to leave the building. We provide a substitute where the teachers can meet as a grade level, and they can discuss or analyze data. They can discuss the Missouri Learning Standards, discipline, parent issues, whatever they have in that grade level. And I am invited to those professional development meetings. They can also attend professional development opportunities here in the district, or they can go elsewhere and attend a workshop of their pleasing. Strategy 2 is professional learning communities. They meet weekly. So these are opportunities that the teachers have to meet and discuss about anything that's going on that week, and I am also invited to those meetings. Those are ongoing. Strategy 3 is to observe veteran teachers. So we do have a budget to get these teachers a substitute where they can go and visit a veteran teacher. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I am new and need to observe a veteran teacher. I can be a veteran teacher, but there's something in that classroom that I really like. And it doesn't have to be in our building. I have a teacher who is observing a teacher at Wyman this school year. So whatever they want to see or they know that another teacher is doing and is successful with their students, would provide the opportunity for them to observe and spend a day with them in that class. Team building activities, this was part of my survey where the teachers wrote that the team building activities were positive. As you all remember, we had a lot of goals to build school culture in the past 3 years. And so the last survey really talked about how much we have grown. We went from, I won't say it was a toxic school culture, but having some sort of issues like everywhere else. And so we have worked on that where it became positive and they felt comfortable and they felt that the team building activities had a lot to do with it because it was the opportunity that we had once a month to interact and collaborate with other team members that are not part of our team. Strategy number 5 is the buddy teacher. I've heard that this is being done in the district. We had not done it at Truman, so it's new for us. Because we have 14 new staff members, we wanted to make sure that they have a buddy. So the new teachers do have a mentor, but the veteran teachers or teachers that have experience but are new to the district, they do not get a mentor. So we assign a buddy that they can talk to and ask questions as far, hey, where do we line up after lunch in the beginning of the school year, if they have concerns about any daily activities that we do, so they can feel at ease and not always necessarily have to feel like I have to speak to the principal about this. Oops. Okay, goal 3, and I am writing solo this year, so bear with me. Goal 3 is 100% of our students will have access to instructional resources necessary to be a successful student. Strategy 1 is focused on technology. So we want all students from grades 1 through 3rd to have direct access to appropriate technological devices and direct classroom instruction. So what that means was that 2 years ago, we decided to have Chromebooks for every student in 3rd grade. Last year, we bought Chromebooks for 2nd grade. And this year, we're buying iPads for all of 1st grade. So our goal is to be one-to-one when it comes to technology. But we do want to make sure that the technology is being used to support our curriculum and goals. We don't just want them to use, iPads and Chromebooks just to serve the web. Strategy number 2 is underperforming students, the bottom 25%, will receive 30 minutes of Tier 2 small group reading math instruction. So our response to intervention has 3 tiers, Tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 is the biggest tier. This is where the majority of our students should be. This is pretty much our whole group instruction, our classroom instruction, regular instruction. Those students who do not show adequate progress will then be placed on Tier 2, which means that the Title I teachers or the specials teachers in our building will provide small group instruction. This instruction is exactly the same instruction that goes on in the classroom, but more one-to-one. So more small group, and the goal is to try to fill those gaps that the students have developed throughout the years to make sure that they can function and be successful in the classroom with whole group instruction. Tier 3 is a very, very small group. This is the smallest group of all 3, and this is where those students who do not show adequate growth from Tier 2 will now need an individualized educational plan, and those will become our special education students. Okay, so our Tier 2 students are pretty much our bottom 25, and they do receive 30 minutes a day of small group reading math instruction. And that can be from our title teachers or from our specials teachers. Strategy number 3 is our student assistance team. We do have a team that's led by our counselor, and we also have 1 representative from each grade level or team. And this team meets at least bi-weekly or every other week to discuss any student who's struggling, not only academically, but also with behaviors, and they develop a plan for them before we decide the student may need an individualized plan. We do have Tommy Cox. She is our Pathways counselor this school year. We have her part of this team, and we have been referring students to her, and she currently has 7 students in her caseload from Truman. So we're very blessed with that. Strategy number 4, 5, and 6 are new this school year. And so we do have English language learners in our building. As we mentioned earlier, I do have a lot of students that speak a different language or different demographics. And we do have 3 teachers that service these kids at least 3 times a week. These students are assessed, but we don't really see the data. So this year we do want to see the data to make sure that we see growth in language acquisition. That is our main goal. So not necessarily academics, but in language. That is their goal, and that's what we want to see. Strategy number 5 is a school-wide Project Lead the Way implementation. So last year we talked a little bit about starting Project Lead the Way, but the teachers were not trained yet. This school year we purchased 2 modules for each grade level with the help of MS&T. And we have started Project Lead the Way, so we're very excited about that. Those of you who do not know, it is a STEAM program or STEM program. So the students get to learn about science, technology, math, and engineering. MS&T has been very helpful with that. And we do have Mrs. Barr, who's the teacher leader. She's able to train other teachers, and she also started an after-school program so that all the other teachers can observe her using the modules before they use the modules in their own classrooms. So that is completely new to us this school year. Strategy number 6 is to use and assess students with NWEA and Exact Path. That is purchased by the school district, and we're excited to have something that can correlate to our map. And as a school, we did purchase Digital Coach. That is another resource for teachers. It is completely optional for them to use, and I told them that they don't have to, they don't want to. But sometimes there are some learning standards that we don't have too much to cover on, and so this digital coach can help them with that. They can print on specific learning standards that they need help with. I keep going the wrong way. Okay, goal number 4 is all Truman students will demonstrate academic growth through quality technological educational programs and various assessment tools. Strategy 1 we met and is also ongoing. All students will receive between 60 and 90 minutes of direct reading and math instruction. We did have to make several changes to our schedule 2 or 3 years ago to make this happen because our goal was focused on mathematics, if you remember in the previous years. And so we have been doing so great with that. We have 90 minutes for math classes in our building for the upper grades. The lower grades, they won't be able to do 90 minutes, but they can do 60, which is what's mandated or recommended by Missouri State standards. So we're going to continue to do that. Strategy number 2 is to assess students in the beginning of the year and end of the year to identify needs, and we talked about that a little bit. We do assess them in the beginning of every school year and at the end, and that's how we get to find out which students are in need, which ones are struggling, and what kind of interventions we need to provide for them. Strategy 3 is 90% of our students will attend school 90% of the time. We did meet this goal. We had 91% last school year. And something new that we want to implement this school year is Truman, Rolla Middle School, and Rolla Junior High are going to collaborate and choose one family per school per month that has perfect attendance and deliver a pizza dinner to that family every month. And so we think that it would be a great idea for the students to see, this was my principal last year, this is my principal this year, and this will be my principal next year, or 2 years from now, whatever the case may be. So we're going to try that. That's new. So we're excited about that. We're getting T-shirts and everything. Yeah. Okay, so strategy 4 is to increase the percentage of students scoring proficient and advanced on the Missouri Assessment Program test by 10% every year. It sounds like it's a lot, but we've done it. When I started, we were at 58%. We ended up with 78% in 2 years. We don't have the scores like Dr. Zales said. This year, our goal for this year, or last year's scores, were 85%, so fingers crossed. And our overall scores that we want every year is 90%. That's what we're shooting for. Our MPI score, which is our Missouri Performance Index score, that score covers attendance, academic growth, student growth, subgroups, we want 400. And it's doable. So last year we had 395 in English, 3rd grade, and we have 418 in math. So I know we did excellent in mathematics, and it is excellent in reading as well, but of course we always want to strive for more, so we're hoping to get 400 or above. Strategy number 5 we did not meet, and it is to have 85% of our students reading on grade level. We started with 40% last year, and we ended with 80%. So we came close, and we're happy with that, but not really happy with that. But it was great growth, but we can do the 85% if we want 90% for the student MAP assessment performance.
Can I just interrupt
Sure.
a minute? What would you attribute that huge increase from 40 to 80 in 1 year?
You know, the increase in
that's awesome.
I would say it has a lot to do with the fact that we do assess the students in the beginning, and we do look at what concept they are lacking. So when we assess, if we know that the student is just not getting main idea, when they get pulled, that's what we're going to work on. If they're just not getting geometry, then when they get pulled for small group services, that's what we're going to work on. So we try to focus on their weaknesses because we do have a high mobility rate, and so students moving back and forth, going to different districts, they get different curriculums. And so they do develop gaps. And this is huge in the military community where I came from, so I know exactly what happens, especially with my own kids. So you have to find out what gaps did they develop throughout the years. Different states teach multiplication at different grades, or division in different grades. So if you have a student come here, let's say from Texas, and you're teaching 3rd grade, and you say, you should know this. No, they don't teach that to 4th grade when they get to Texas. So those are things we need to know and able to help the kids. And so that's what I try to focus on, or we try to focus on in our building, trying to find out what gaps they have and how we can close those gaps. And the teachers do offer tutoring after school a lot. So, yeah, you're welcome.
40 to 80 is comparing when you assess them
The beginning to the end, yes.
Okay. That's what I wasn't understanding. My bad.
For the reading,
Gotcha.
yes. The For the MAP scores, we went from 58% to 78% in 2 years overall. That was a lot of analyzing the data. So what I just explained to you, that's what we did as well.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, with that 40 to 80%, do you find that kids, when they go from grade to the next grade and they don't read over the summer, that they might start their year off kind of lower than even when they ended the year before?
Good question, absolutely. We use the STAR program, the Accelerated Reader program, and when the students end the school year, sometimes their grade equivalency, let's say a third grade student ends at 4.0. So they are ready for fourth grade. When we assess them in the beginning of the school year, they go back to 3.8. And it's like, no, you lost 2 months. So it does happen. But they pick up fairly quickly once they get back into the groove of things.
I just want to share, the cool thing is that you're assessing.
Yeah.
Whether you meet it or not, that's, to me, that's not the issue. It's that you're measuring it, that you're
Right.
actually looking at that. And that hopefully at the end of the year, when you say, well, we didn't quite get there, what could we have
What
done
can we do?
differently? What could we have done more? What could we change? That's what
Sure.
evaluation is about.
Great, yeah.
So good for you.
And that's what we did this year, so I'm glad that you noticed that things. That's why we changed a couple of things, because we talked about those things. What can we do? We did not meet this. But we came very close, and so I remember in the PLC team, when we talked about it, the teachers were very excited, like, well, we have 80%, that's good. But again, a lot of it with that, why don't we have the 85% that we are hoping for? A lot of it is because we have a lot of new students. So we can't compare how they did last year because we don't have that data
Right.
to how they're doing. They're completely new to us, and we don't know what their weaknesses are yet. All right, our last goal is all Truman students will have at least one parent or guardian connected to Class Dojo. And I mentioned Class Dojo earlier, but that was focused mostly on parent communication. This goal is focused more on telling the parents how the students are doing and with their positive behaviors. So we want to focus more on positives than we do on negatives. Last year and the previous years as well, we've always recognized students for positive, but we've waited a lot longer. So this year we want to recognize them weekly, monthly, and quarterly. And we did post that on Class Dojo, and the parents, that we've received very positive comments as well, that it's great. Because some students, if we wait too long, they will probably lose that incentive somewhere in between. So at least they get praised now. If next month you don't do as well, you have the opportunity to pick it back up. So that's what we're changing, what we're adding this school year. Our goal is 96% of our students to have their parents connected with through Class Dojo by the end of the first quarter, which is parent-teacher conferences next year. So what we plan to do is have an iPad or a Chromebook. If you're not connected to Class Dojo, hopefully make sure that we have you enrolled or register for Class Dojo so that you can be able to see what's going on in the classroom and get to know how your students are doing every day. We continue to have our newsletters. We explain to the parents our upcoming learning goals in Class Dojo, and our goal is to increase communication via messages, which I think it's new, but I think we have been accomplishing that every day. So, and that is all. Overall, I just wanted to say that I think Truman is doing a great job. I think we have amazing teachers, decent parent involvement. There's always room for more. So we're trying our best to ensure that we have more parents involved and joining our PTO, coming to our events. So any feedback for any parent watching is always welcome. We want to hear from you. We're there, we're here, we're open to any suggestions. And of course, our overall goal is to make sure that our students improve academically and that they just love being in school every day.
I was thinking when you were talking about having parents sign in when they come to the monthly events that you have, and wait, so you're going to know who's there more or most often, right? If you could recognize those parents in some way, such as getting Kiwanis Club or somebody like that to donate a book to the library in their name, you know what I mean?
That would be good.
So you don't have to take them pizza. But,
Yeah.
but some recognition,
But everybody loves
some
pizza.
positive recognition that we're going to donate this book in your name because you attended 75% of our parent.
You know, I've actually saw something like that online where a school had a parent wall. So instead of recognizing a teacher or a student, which we do, they also had a parent, like volunteer of the month, or you've been here all this, days and times, or you did this for our school. So you have a little parent wall. That's a good
And
idea.
that won't embarrass elementary kids.
No, not at all. That's a superhero up there. Any other questions? Well, thank you.
Good job.
Nice
Thank
seeing
you.
you
I
all.
was just going to say that, one of our big things on the board is parent engagement, and so I'm really glad to hear about all this that you're doing,
Thank
to
you.
help with parent engagement.
We're trying.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
It is our CSIP goal number one.
Yep.
So
All right.
you should hear that from all of
Right.
them.